Yeah, I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late coming home. Yeah, because I gotta fact check the right. I know. I was hoping for I'd have been home already if they gave me the left, but yeah, so yeah. No, I when? Shoot. March? Hey, shout out to all of our subscribers and members here on the channel. My name is Reese Waters, and this is Who Raised Y'all, where we highlight those unique individuals going above and beyond to make our society worse.
Don't call her, don't. She's an ugly, dumb cool.
You know, the kinds of people you'll see asking to speak to the manager at the pearly gates.
I want the manager of the airport here!
Mark Zuckerberg, come on down. I didn't even have a chance to do a Who Raised Y'all before I could do a Racist of the Week.
Probably heard that Meta announced it was getting rid of third-party fact-checking, instead relying on community notes. In other words, leaving it up to users to correct misinformation, a model that is similar to the one used on X. Meta has also revised its hateful conduct policy with multiple edits that actually allow certain derogatory references. For example, the company's removed the section of its policy that prohibited referring to women as household objects or property and calling transgender or non-binary people it. Mark Zuckerberg calls these moves a shift toward free expression. One advocacy group, Free Press, said Zuckerberg is, quote, saying yes to more lies, yes to more harassment, yes to more hate, while the digital rights group Accountable Tech called it a gift to Donald Trump and extremists. But wait, there's more. Like many other companies, DEI is DOA at Meta, according to a new employee memo that was obtained by Axios. A desire to cozy up to the incoming Trump administration is seen as the primary motive for both of these changes, following the lead of other tech companies and executives.
Now, Katie Couric, that sounds pretty bad. Like old high school friend contacted me on Facebook Messenger, bad. But if you can believe this, the actual statement was worse.
Hey everyone, I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram.
Well, I'm gonna have to stop you right there. I have seen some of the content to emerge from Facebook. Is that not free expression? Are you telling me that that is not free? Like all the memes I'm getting sent from the boomers in middle America, that's not free. That's not free expression? Okay. All right. Go ahead. I'll tell you what's definitely free expression is that chain. Cause nobody voted for that.
I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US.
Oh, okay. So no fact checking whatsoever. You're going to leave it to the people to do it. Okay. So this is like the moderation equivalent of self-checkout, right? Just whatever happens. Now, all of these words that are coming out of your mouth wouldn't happen to have anything to do with you donating money to Trump's inauguration campaign or your visit to Mar-a-Lago during Thanksgiving. Is that anything having to do with it? Funny that you mentioned X. It is funny that you mentioned X. That is fascinating. Elon Musk's platform. Yeah. Because you want to tell me that all of this is political, while you make your platform, your approach to free speech on your platform to coincide with the platform owned by the man behind our right-wing movement. But you're trying to be apolitical. No, is that what you're arguing very badly?
After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact-checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US.
Did you hear what he just said? Did you hear what he said? The fact-checkers have been too biased. How would a fact have bias? Huh? How would information have bias? The only way the fact checkers could be perceived as being biased is if they were doing more fact checking on one side than they were on the other side, which would make sense if one side was lying more than the other side. When you have a president that anytime there's ever been any kind of fact checking has ran up Lamar Jackson numbers that we've never seen before, it kind of stands to reason that the fact checkers might be a little weighted on one side of the aisle given their workflow. I mean, if I was a fact checker, I would love to take on the left. I mean, give me, hey, which package I got? I got the left or the right? I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late coming home. Yeah, because I gotta fact check the right. I know. I was hoping for the. I'd have been home already if they gave me the left. But yeah, no. I when March. You have just openly ceded that one of our political parties has a much looser relationship with the truth by virtue of your fact checkers appearing biased. Make that make sense.
So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse.
Yes, out of touch with mainstream discourse. Now, it depends on where this mainstream discourse is happening. Apparently, we're talking about like a locker room bathroom stall, like the conversations that you have over or below the divider. Now, apparently, that's where the discourse is happening, and we need to make sure anything that's said there is cool.
What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far.
This part I like. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has shut out the people that did not want to include those people. You know, so we can't be more inclusive by shutting out the people that did not want to be inclusive. So what we're going to do is we're going to be exclusive to the people that wanted to shut out the people that we initially wanted to include.
So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce the amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down.
Well, let's take a look at some of the bad stuff that was captured in the past that apparently will no longer trigger these censors. Well, apparently we're just letting it flow. Okay, so just so we're all aware, we're cool with all of this now. All right, just so we're good.
Fourth, we're bringing back civic content. For a while, the community asked to see less politics because it was making people stressed. So we stopped recommending these posts. But it feels like we're in a new era now, and we're starting to get feedback that people want to see this content again. So we're going to start phasing this back into Facebook, Instagram, and Threads while working to keep the communities friendly and positive.
Did you just tell me that you're phasing back political content now that you have dialed back your censors? Is that what you just communicated? Yeah, that. What could go wrong?
Fifth, we're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. As we work to promote free expression, I think that it will help us build trust to do this work in places where there is less concern about the bias of our teams.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You are responding to people thinking that your teams might be biased by virtue of them physically being in a blue place, so you physically move them to a red place. Tell me you lying without telling me you lying. Yeah, baby, since I'm seeing both of y'all, it's not fair to her that we live together. So I'm gonna move in with her. You should have just said that off the rip. That should have been number one. Number one, we are moving our teams from California to Texas because of the perception of bias. Now I know where all of this is coming from. Somebody should have vetted that. That should not have been in the speech, because that makes everything else that comes out of your mouth sound horrible.
Finally, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. The US has the strongest constitutional protections for free expression in the world. Europe has an ever-increasing number of laws institutionalizing censorship and making it difficult to build anything innovative there. Latin American countries have secret courts that can order companies to quietly take things down. China has censored our apps from even working in the country. The only way that we can push back on this global trend is with the support of the US government. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it.
Okay, so if you are scoring from home, Facebook just put on a big red hat saying that it's ending its fact-checking program in exchange for X-style community notes, targeting censorship and embracing free speech. It has taken a sharp turn in its policies and corporate posturing since Trump was elected, which I'm sure is just a coincidence, like that Thanksgiving trip. Joel Kaplan, a prominent Republican, replaced Meta's policy chief Nick Clegg last week, and again, I'm sure that's just a coincidence because Mark Zuckerberg said that everything was too political before. So yeah, that's a whole lot of coincidences though, like everything coming up red. Oh, and there's also this, speaking of coming up red, it added 3 people to its board, including Dana White. Is Dana White is he close? Yeah, oh, get it. You mean the dude that spoke at the Republican convention and was there with Trump on election night? That Dana White? Oh, okay. There wasn't no room for Laura Trump on that board. Really? I'm surprised. I really am. They must have heard "Won't Back Down." That's probably why they heard "Won't Back Down," because they wouldn't have wanted her singing "Won't Back Down" because they back down clearly. They're bringing back more political content, and they're adjusting their filters, scanning for policy violations to only tackle illegal and high severity violations. And of course, that whole thing about the content review team being moved to Texas from California. Ooh, I gotta love that. By the way, X last year announced the creation of a safety unit in Texas. And you know what? This is gonna shock you. I know this is gonna shock you. So X created their safety unit in Texas. They were not concerned about the perception of bias from the left at all. I know, it's crazy, right? That's probably why Mark Zuckerberg got the idea. He was like, well, because they went out there and they didn't care about perception, so we gonna go out there and not care about perception. As much as he had already given us more than enough for a full hoorays Joel, he decided, you know what? We can do more. We can do more. You know what? Mark Zuckerberg, what you gonna put on top of that? How about a hoorays Joel with a side of racist of the week? Meta kills its DEI programs. Oh, Trump is gonna love that. Yeah, Trump is going. Oh wait, because we said it's not political, right? Oh, I forgot we said it's not political. It's probably a coincidence. Yeah, it's that's got to be what it is. You know, they just came to that realization while they were looking for real estate in Texas. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta is terminating major DEI programs effective immediately, including for hiring, training, and picking suppliers, according to a new employee memo obtained by Axios. The move is a signal to Meta employees the company's push to make inroads with the incoming Trump administration isn't just posturing, but an ethos shift that will impact its business practices. Meta said it was changing course because the legal and policy landscape surrounding diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in the United States is changing. Well, at least they were honest about something. Because despite the larger ideals that might drive something like that, that has nothing to do with the legal and policy landscape. That is changing. Yeah. Okay. The move came just 3 days after Meta ended many of its efforts to fact check and police speech on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. The announcement also follows a host of public moves by tech companies and executives to align with the policies and cultural views of President-elect Trump and the Maga movement. Well, we're being honest. If they have a less diverse staff there at Meta, they won't be subjected to all of the hate speech that will now flood their platform. So really, they protected us. That's really what it is. Friday's memo by Gail announcing changes to our hiring, development, and procurement practices was posted for Meta employees in Workplace, the company's internal communications tool. The Supreme Court of the United States has recently made decisions signaling a shift in how courts will approach DEI. The term DEI has also become charged, in part because it's understood by some as a practice that suggests preferential treatment of some groups over others. Now that is interesting. I like that. It suggests the preferential treatment of some groups over others to compensate for the preferential treatment of some groups over others. So we're going to stick with the first preferential treatment of some groups over others. Yeah. Cool. Similar moves have been made recently by other major companies, including Walmart in November and McDonald's just this weekend. And don't think either of those went unnoticed. And a shout out to Costco, by the way, who is standing on business. I had a whole video all about that. Meta will no longer have a team focused on DEI. Maxine Williams, the company's chief diversity officer, is taking on a new role at Meta, focus on accessibility and engagement. Meta will instead build programs that focus on how to apply fair and consistent practices that mitigate bias for all, no matter your background. I have no idea what that means. Meta will end efforts to source business suppliers from diverse-owned businesses, Moving forward, the company will focus our efforts on supporting small and medium-sized businesses that power much of our economy. They telling you what it is. Hey, black folks, brown folks, women, differently able people, LGBTQ, they telling you what it is. They telling you exactly how significant your viability is to them. As is Walmart and McDonald's, by the way. While Meta will continue to source candidates from different backgrounds, and I guess that will be random. How did that happen? How did we get a black person? But we ended diversity in the... Oh, we gotta adjust some filters. That shouldn't have happened. While Meta will continue to source candidates from different backgrounds, it will no longer use the diverse slate hiring approach, which ensures a diverse pool of candidates is considered for every open position. We believe there are other ways to build an industry-leading workforce and leverage teams made up of world-class people from all types of backgrounds. Now, as bad as all of this was, I know this is crazy. It got worse. Y'all see this man go on Joe Rogan and try and claim he didn't know why the Biden administration was coming for Meta?
And we had organizations that were looking into us that were like not really involved with social media. Like I think like the CFPB, like this financial, I don't even know what it stands for. It's the financial organization that Elizabeth Warren had set up.
Oh, great!
And it's basically it's like we're not a bank.
The
right?
debanking section.
Yeah, no. So like we're not a bank, right? It's like what does Meta have to do with this?
Now, first of all, you not knowing what the CFPB is probably why you ran afoul of them. That is probably why that was an issue. Because you don't even know what it is. By the way, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau defends people from corporate abuse. And I get why you wouldn't know what that is. I totally understand that. Now, this investigation and inquiry wouldn't have had anything to do with that data, using people's data or anything. Would that have been? Would you think that might have had something to do with it, or was that a different agency that you never heard of? Now, I have said probably a few times during the course of this video, this was my favorite. This was actually my favorite, though, because he sat there and tried to make it seem like all of this was just a coincidence, that they have done away with their moderating and pulled back filters and gone to community notes like Elon Musk and going to see him for Thanksgiving and giving to his inauguration and moving things to Texas and Dana White on the board. This is all just a coincidence, right? While he rails against the Biden administration for their threats against Meta, which, as comical as that is for you to be railing against the Biden administration for threats so that you can support, I don't know, Donald Trump. Here's the funny thing. Trump didn't even back him up. Trump called you all the way out.
I think they've come a long way. Meta, Facebook. I think they've come a long way. I watched it. The man was very impressive. I watched it. Actually, I watched it on Fox. I'm not allowed to say that. Say it?
Do you think he's directly responding to the threats that you have made to him in the past? With
Probably. Yeah, probably.
You sat there with a rapper starter pack chain on and gave us all of those words to try and legitimize what you're doing. And Trump just said the thing that you are responding to threats. I hope that tastes good. And I mean, like, as good as the turkey at Mar-a-Lago. Like, I hope that went down similarly. Well, it's definitely gonna go down better than lunch at Meta, now that they're not using diverse suppliers. Good luck with that. Hey, I want to thank you guys so much for supporting the channel as we approach a new administration and the changing winds of our media landscape. I want to invite you to join my channel. I think it's very important to preserve a space and a platform where I can communicate clearly and honestly, as all of our creators are hoping to maintain. Unfortunately, it looks like that ground may be evaporating right underneath our feet. So I wanted to let you know I'm going to continue to post on my channel, but I'll also be posting more in the membership section as well, so we can have clear and honest conversations. You can find the button to join right there on my page. There's also a link in the description box to all of my videos. I also want to invite you to join my mindfulness and meditation channel. That's my second channel. It is Way of Waters, because we gonna need it. We gonna need it. I might wear that thing out by the midterms.